right, okay, we should be live. Make sure my volume is turned off on my phone so that we're actually able to monitor the stream without feedback. But okay, we should be good here. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you being here and hanging out. And yeah, we're just chilling. So, as many of you probably know at this point, I was able to be part of a Disc Golf Pro Tour commercial shoot from a couple of weeks ago. And the, sorry, got a shirt on the floor in the way of the tripod. As part of the, not payment, but, reward for being part of the commercial shoot, I'm getting a $100 gift card to the Disc Golf Pro Tour website. They're discs that are for sale. So I did a tiny bit of browsing and I looked around and I thought some of these Tour Series discs look pretty good. And I tend to be somebody who I like to buy a good disc, but I'm not really looking for necessarily a Tour Series disc. I'm more thinking along the lines of what am I going to throw in a good plastic that I like, and then try to get it, gently used or cheap from somebody, more local. But this gift card can only be used on the Pro Tour site, so I thought, hey, maybe I'll splurge a little bit and get myself just 4 really cool Tour Series discs and use up the gift card for that instead of trying to kind of stretch and get 5 or 6 great discs, but not Tour Series ones. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. So I started the poll up there for a couple of ones that really kind of jumped out at me that I'm interested in. I definitely am considering getting something with that Isaac Robinson kind of archer hood stamp, which is very, very cool. All right, Doc says, is there a dragon or shoe one that you can buy? Which, to be fair to Doc, this was before I started the poll. But to be unfair, no, there's no Tour Series shoe or dragon because the pros don't like those discs. Doc says you are buying a Glacier, lol. So I do have already, but it is the prototype Glacier, the Discmania mystery box, and I liked it. I love it. I think it flies really well, but didn't quite stick the bag. And now I'm kind of looking back and kind of curious. Maybe the Glacier is one that, if I get the full Tour Series run of it, maybe that'll stay in the bag. I do like the M2 that I have. Probably messed things up. I do like the M2 that I've been bagging for that kind of gently stable but not wildly overstable mid-range slot. But maybe there's room for another disc. I'm not sure. We'll see. Dude says disc opening. Yes. So I just have, I don't want to say just, I have one disc to open, but it is a custom dyed disc, and I'm told it's a custom dyed Brave. So I'm very excited for that, and I'll be opening that in a little while here. I figure I'll let the stream go for a few minutes, and then we'll see if Brendan hops on, who dyed it for me and sent it to me, and I'd love to give him a shout out too. But that will be coming in a while. Daniel says, hey guys, thanks for hopping on, Daniel. Appreciate you coming back. Dude just says, probably going to order a Ledgestone box if they're not sold out. There you go. Yeah, so I snagged the Ledgestone box this year, and it was solid. I'm trying to remember. I think I just got like a couple extra discs in the box for the prize, the random prize. Not as fortunate as when Brent won a bag last time that he got the Ledgestone box, but it was still pretty fun and some good discs in there. I actually was just looking through a few of them. The Passion cigar, is that a Cicada or a Cigara? I was just looking at that because I was giving my buddy a Discraft disc. Doc says Battle Pack $49.99, 2 of the same. Oh, yeah, I don't know about the Battle Pack. 2 of the same disc. Is the Battle Pack 2 of the same disc? Or the Ledgestone box give you 2 of the same? Yeah, I don't know about the Battle Pack. Doc says, okay, this is me, but I think I would go Luna Pack and Max Stick Retriever, But you do you, dog. I don't really like the Luna, so that wouldn't be useful, I guess. Unless you're saying a different, you're saying like a pack of discs or a pack like a bag of some sort, Doc. I don't know what the Luna pack is, quote unquote. I would benefit from a retriever, but I don't know. I don't find that I lose discs up in trees very often in Charlotte. A couple times in the water, but I've just gone in after them lately. I just have smelly feet in the evening. I don't care. I'll go in and get my disc back. Daniel says, "Did you think of my nickname?" So this is funny. I had a nickname like picked based on an actor's name, and then I forgot the actor's name and I didn't look it up before the stream. So I still owe you a nickname next week. Next week, I've got you covered. Dude just says I always end up having to do 150. Wait, oh, I missed a comment. Also, routine every day I rotate between playing around and doing my putting. There you go. Bounce back and forth and do 150 to 200 putts because you're bored. Yeah. I mean, that's how you do it. Get in that solid like 150 to, 250 putt range. That's a good bit of practice for the day. And it's probably not going to make you sore. Like every once in a while, I'll just kind of sit down and just do like 500 putts. And that kind of hurts a little bit the next day because you're not used to that like me at least my stance is a little bit of a squat and then I kind of use my back a little more. And after like a round, I only do it like 25, 30 times. But then in practice, if I do it 500 times, that's way, way more in one session than I would in even a couple of rounds in a day. So that can kind of like ache, for a couple of days. But that 250 and under range is kind of that perfect sweet spot where you're not really pushing your body like crazy far, but you're still doing way more than you normally would in a day, all for concentrated practice. Could be good. Good way to do it. Alex says, "Are you going to get the Discmania box this year?" Good question. I'm probably not, but let me put it this way. I have had a buddy give me money and say that I should use it for the, and I also had some friends get me the Gyropalooza box a year ago. So it may be I end up getting the box, but right now I'm not really planning on purchasing it myself. But if somebody's like, "Hey, let's get the box together and open it," then I would be open to something like that. So I won't say no, but I'm not currently planning on just outright buying it for myself. So fingers crossed that somebody you know funds a Discmania box with me or for me. Hopefully, I hear about somebody who's buying one, and then we can kind of film the opening just for fun and get that video on the channel. That'd be fun. Are you going for that, Alex? Are you going for the Discmania box? I liked my Discmania box. I even liked the P2, and I don't deviate from my Wardens, but I had a good putting round with the P2 and I pulled it out, and so it's all dirty, gross. I guess I don't clean my discs. I think I still have Florida dust under here from the round that I played. It's kind of gross. But so I got the P2, the Essence. I got that Horizon line DD3, which is a great disc. DD1? Maybe it's a DD1. I can't remember. Great disc, made the bag for quite a while, but kind of shifted out of the bag. What else did I get? Oh, it came with the Glacier, of course. The MD3? This is not it. That's not it. Oh, that is Discmania. Here. What is this one? Yeah, MD3. I mean, I had some great discs. Yep, and there's my Glacier, which I like. I really wish I'd gotten different colors. Like the black and white looked so sweet, or some blue on it. I mean, I know the font is blue, but I like it looks sweet and everything. It's great. But wish I had wish I'd gotten some different color pattern there. But anyway, I think it was a good value for the disc that you got, the disc that I got in the Discmania box. I thought it was a great value. Something with like the Ledgestone, it's a decent value, but you're also factoring in that a bunch of people who are winning the big prizes their boxes raise the price. So if you don't win something big, you're paying a little extra, thrill of, if you call it gambling or whatever, the hope of winning something. But with a Discmania box, they have that kind of lower price point because you're just getting your discs, which I think is great. Doc says, I got the shoes. Oh, in the Ledgestone box? That's nice. I was kind of hoping for shoes because I needed them at the time, but now I have the Merrills or whatever we got from U.S. Amateurs, which is useful. They're good shoes. Dude just says I'd rather just get extra discs than shoes or a small bag. Yeah, some of the prizes were not optimal, but like the $50 gift card or whatever, that's better than, you know, what, two extra discs that I get. Maybe I hate them. Fingers crossed. But yes, you're right. Some of the smaller prizes are like just throw in a couple extra discs. Doc says the Luna Battle Pack. I just like different types of discs. Yeah, as much as I like different discs, I definitely don't have this desire. Like, I have a good enough collection already. I really don't need like just a smattering of random. I don't mind a few, but I kind of like getting something great that I can either learn and love, or I know that I'm going to enjoy and be able to use. So I kind of target some of those Tour Series discs because I'm like, ooh, maybe that Tour Series Glacier, might be perfect for me. Dude just says, my home course, which nobody ever plays, and is all under 250 feet. I've devised a long layout for it. Oh, nice. Yeah, the safari layouts can be really fun, and essay for anyone thinking of playing a safari layout. You better make sure nobody is in between holes, that you don't have just random passerby, because safari layouts can be dangerous. But like Dude just said, nobody plays that course, so he's pretty much in the clear there. But yeah, I've done a few safari layouts at some Florida courses where we had kind of a specific, and then we played some safari holes. Like this course had a 650-foot par four, but they put in this like 990-foot par five that combined the fairways of three different holes in the basket. It was pretty difficult, but it was pretty fun. So it was kind of cool. But of course, we're in like a group of eight, and then we're making you're good to go. But dude, it should be fun. Yeah, take the course and make just a 5-hole layout from it. That's fun. Did we freeze? Let me check. The stream can have some problems, so I'm gonna double. Oh, it looks like we're unfrozen. Okay, I always have to double check with the stream because I have had some issues the last few weeks, and I don't know why exactly, but sometimes the stream will just like cut or freak out. But if I click continue, it'll be fine, or it'll just like drop it. No, totally. Daniel says that's okay. Okay, good. I'll have that ready for you. You're curious and scared. You better be. Duda says just makes my back a bit sore if I do it a lot. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, when I was going to Am Worlds and I did like 250 putts a day, by the fourth day I was fine because I kind of pushed through that like sore day or whatever, 2 days. So by the time Am Worlds rolled around, I was able to do my putts. Although I didn't do 250 because I worked ahead, but I did like 150 putts the day before, and I didn't feel like going into Am Worlds like or sore from anything like that because I've been doing it. But if it is like once every 2 weeks, then yeah, all of a sudden you're doing a motion you don't normally do that much. That can make you sore. But if you're doing 250 every other day, that'll settle into a routine pretty quickly where your body's ready for it and handles it. So that should probably be any day now where that stops being even a little bit sore. Doc says, did like seeing Discmania offered a noodle arm option for a mystery box. I didn't see that. That's a lot of fun. I'm glad. My people have been seen. Yes, that's good. No, I think that's great. I feel like Discmania is kind of a company that in the US isn't quite the same level of popular. Um, but they're doing all this like, cool, fun little stuff that's kind of in the background. Whereas we kind of see Discraft the most, I feel like, or MVP, because MVP is known for being innovative. But I feel like Discmania is out there doing the same sort of stuff and doing fun things like the noodle arm box, which is great. Um, but just because it's Sweden and not U.S. based, it's kind of a little bit harder to maybe keep up on it. But that's really cool. Dude missed my local space race because I was away at soccer. Totally would have won. Yeah, that's a bummer. I I've only done I think one space race, but I ended up winning uh and taking like five, factory second discs. And a few of those discs made the bag for a long time. The octane was really nice. Dude just says I think the only boxes that aren't sold out are the Noodle Arm and Dyer's Dream. Interesting. The Dyer's Dream. One guy opened one online and got a tilt as an extra disc and the Noodle Arm disc box because that is hilarious. Billy says the Burr Glacier feels really nice. Yeah, I like the feel of it. I like the flight of it. I feel like I do have to give that touch of Annie, and as soon as I get it, at least the prototype, with that touch of Annie, it just so smoothly carries and kind of eventually fades, but just goes so far for its speed. It feels like it's really nice. That would pay for your box if it wasn't the Antilla one. Yeah, the tilt. Yeah, I mean those are still like $70, right? Doc says I'm going for the Foundation Disc Golf Black Friday box. Got to watch the budget. There you go. Pill says like the Glacier, its flight pattern changes a lot as it beats in though. Very interesting. Do you have the Tour Series Glacier, uh, the original prototype, or do you have a different plastic for the Glacier? Very curious. Daniel says, guys, I don't say anything about discs. I don't understand anything. Someone will have to teach me. You're in the right place. Yes. I mean, I don't want to give a full rundown, but disc golf, just like the rules of golf, where you're trying to get it there in as few shots as possible, but use discs instead. That's all you need to know to go buy a few discs and go play around at a local course, if you have a local course. Doc says Merrill's is what came the mystery. Dude just says, I've wanted to try an MD1 lately. My local shop has a beautiful looking blue one in stock, so you connect the dots. I think I connected the dots. That's great. Yeah, MD1. I'm trying to remember Discmania. I want to say the lower numbers are flippier and the higher numbers are more stable because Prodigy is the opposite. Um, is that correct, or am I wrong about that? I never remember, but I know Prodigy goes. The higher numbers are more flippy because it's flippy. The M5 is flippy, so that's true. Is Discmania is the opposite, right? So the MD1 is the flippy one, but the MD3 stable. I will say the MD3 is somewhat stable, not like the Glacier prototype, but it's a little more stable for sure. Doc says, "Who knows just everything, not just discs." Oh, dude just says we've got a ton of disc experts in here and Doc. Yes, that's a really good insult. I missed that one. And Doc says, "Who knows just everything, not just discs." Thank you, Dujit. Sure. I would say Doc is probably an expert on the mid to late 1900s, but otherwise, I'm not sure that Doc really has a whole lot of insight to give. Dude just says that Rock 3 that he found made him rediscover love for them. There you go. I feel like the Rock is kind of that long time, always good disc that a lot of people are always going to love. But I feel like it's kind of the same for me. I threw a Rock early on, and it was like my mid range, and then I moved away from it. But I feel like if I went back to it, I'd just be like, oh yeah, good old faithful like Rock 3. Like it's just nice. Doc says rocks are nice discs, and you can use them for a bird bag. Yes. Doc's obsession with making themed bags is just crazy. But yeah, you can do rock for a bird bag. That's true. Just flips up and glides forever. I mean, I feel like my rock is more stable, but I don't know if it's a rock or rock 3. Oh gosh, do I even have it? Oh, this poor guy. It's been through a lot. Oh, it's a glow rock. That probably keeps it a little bit more stable, but I also haven't thrown it in a while. But it is that kind of more base plastic, so I'm not sure I should take it out in the Charlotte woods. I feel like I might damage it beyond repair a little too quickly. But maybe it's time. Take it out and get a few throws with it. Probably. Dude says just have to make sure not to flip it over too much. Yeah, if it gets out of control. Billy says, is there a best disc type for tomahawk? I have a really accurate 100-foot tomahawk with Valkyrie. I only think that works well due to practice. So I'm not a big tomahawk guy, but my understanding is you want a somewhat flippy disc to flip into the tomahawk. But Dude just said, I think more overstable the better. I'm pretty sure that if you throw over, maybe I'm throwing bad tomahawks, but I'm pretty sure that overstable, it's kind of like a roller. Like it really holds what you give it, but a flippy is trying to curl onto its top. And I think that's true when you throw the tomahawk. Um, you throw a flippier disc and it's panning out on its top versus a overstable disc which just holds straight because you want it to pan out. So I think that's correct. So I would try like a flippier fairway driver for your tomahawk. And I think that's probably the ideal way of doing it. It's like a 6 or a 7 speed that's flippy. But again, I might be incorrect. Be a good question in Tour Life Live. Yeah, I mean, Brody's the tomahawk knowledgeable guy, not me. Dude just says love Discmania, just not many of their discs. That's funny. It's kind of a hit and miss for any company. I tend to think that Latitude's one of the more like consistent where I like their discs a lot, but that's you can find the disc that you like in most companies if you throw everything. But Discmania, I feel like I don't know. I feel like some of their discs are just so overstable that I just can't touch them. And then the disc right next to it is just perfect. So it feels like in every other thing. Where I love the FD1. I have two in the bag right now, and actually just my brother gave me this Pro Tour FD1 glow, which is really sweet. And I'm gonna test this out pretty soon. Take it out to an open field. But I've been loving the FD1 for a long time. Shout out to my brother for this one and to Steven for giving me a green one that's more stable than my gray one that I've had in the bag for almost 2 years now. And it's been a nice little complement to each other. The straight shot with a little fade, and then the straight shot with more fade, getting around that corner a bit more. So it's been a really great combo. Billy says, I'll Google that. Thank you. Yes, clear the air on that. Daniel says, when and how did you discover your love for disc? So that's a great question. Because at first I hated disc golf. I played a ton of frisbee. I would throw frisbees around in my yard with my family. So my favorite sport other than soccer was ultimate frisbee. So I would be playing catch with a frisbee in gym class in middle school and high school. I was one of the few people who knew how to throw a frisbee well. So I would read where the frisbee was going to be and run and catch it while other people were like trying to figure out where it's going to fade and where it's going to fly. So I always liked the flight of a disc in the air, but I was always trying to play catch. I played some disc golf in college, but I again was loving how a frisbee flew, played on the ultimate frisbee club team for a while, loved intramurals at college, ultimate frisbee. So I went out on the disc golf course and I had a sidewinder that was the most overstable disc that I'd ever thrown. And it just hooked left the whole time. Left, left, left. Finally, only 4 years ago, no, 4.5 years after college, my brother teaches me how to grip a disc and actually get, instead of grabbing it like I threw frisbees, something like this, which is more of how I putt, to actually get a finger under the rim to throw the disc. And I threw the sidewinder dead straight. I don't even know if it was over 200 feet, but it was so far for me. And I was like, oh, I really like this. I don't know if I probably didn't get a birdie then, but a couple months later, I did a little fundraiser tournament and I got my first birdie by throwing in a stingray. And I threw in, it's actually one of the harder holes on the course. And I threw in from like 100 feet. I threw this stingray in. And I remember that moment where it just kind of went like this and then hit the chains and fell in the basket. And I got my first birdie. And I was like, oh, yeah, I like this and I'm going to do this for a long time. And I started really kind of getting decent at it, getting into it, really enjoying it, playing tournaments. And I figured, hey, why not start a channel and just post a YouTube short every day of something that I do. Doesn't have to be cool. It could be a fail. It could just be a normal routine thing. I've never been kind of a content creator that's you know you're making TikToks that are trying to make a viral video or a viral TikTok. I've really tried to just show people what disc golf is. The good, the bad, the ugly, the fun, some tournaments, some success, but just what it's like to be a disc golfer and enjoy the sport and hang out with friends and have a good time. So that's where the channel came from, and that is my origin story for how I got into disc golf. Long story. Okay, I'm back on the chat. Doc says, by the way, people who like watching workshops by pros and people on YouTube, how do y'all feel about slow mode now behind a paywall? I don't know what that means. Slow motion is now behind a paywall? Interesting. I don't know. Clint says, what is the fifth number on Discraft discs? The fifth number is old. It's not in use anymore. And if I'm remembering correctly, it is the calculation between the turn and the fade that lets you know, that's kind of a calculation of its stability. So somebody tell me if I'm wrong about that, but I believe that's what the fifth number used to be, is that they had their first and their fifth number was like, hey, if you're wondering what the stability actually flies like, here's a guiding number that's like, yes, the turn is one thing and the fade is another, but together, this is what your like flippiness is supposed to be. Due to says stability, I think I don't ever pay attention and I don't know what it means. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they dropped that because the last Discraft disc that I had, well, maybe they didn't drop it. You Discraft. I have a bunch of Discraft discs with stamps, not flight numbers on them. So now I'm trying to like think if I have one with flight numbers. Maybe they still have it. So I think I might have spoken too quickly saying that they don't do it anymore. They might still do it. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten a Discraft disc with flight numbers on it in a while. Even my Ledgestone was a bunch of, uh, yeah, a bunch of like Ledgestone stamped or double stamped discs, but they didn't have flight numbers on them. But now that you mention it, I'm pretty sure my Soul has that fifth number. Yeah. Hey, Brent is here. That means Doc is happy. Welcome, Brent. Glad you're here. Okay, I'm way behind the chat, but I will catch up. Daniel said, Ed Sheeran became my teacher. I hope I don't recover. Billy says, hi, chains, and disc. Nice. I like that. Okay, I don't know what Doc is talking about, but we'll skip that for now. Daniel says, don't ask difficult questions. Oh, Doc talking about the diamond. Dude says, Doc, do you know if there's an Invaders golf site that you use? Want to get a stack for putting? Because that's what I use. Yeah, that's a great question, and Doc is the right person to ask. Billy says, my friend gave me a Falk. I was like, what do you use this for? I'll let that joke play itself out for people who want to read it, but what is that? Castoplast? Yeah. I'm not sure how it flies. Probably better for some people, and other people, it's more of an angry thing they say. Stars are 15 and some change, 15 each. Yeah, just keep your assorted putters. Yeah, every once in a while you can get the stack of them for like $9, $12 a piece, but yeah, 15 plus is a little bit unfortunate, but maybe they'll go on sale. Dude just says when you're showing your super old rock, couldn't help but compare it to your orange buzzsaw and realize how cool that now. Yeah, they've definitely made a huge difference, and Innova themselves have made that shift too from that kind of old style. Uh, Occasionally that's some cool stamps, but even with the Whip It, oh, even with this Whip It, hey, at least I had a picture on it, right? better than your high school textbooks. No, but it definitely, no, that's not fair. High school textbooks have pictures. Docs didn't. But like, it's so rudimentary compared to what we have now with Halo plastics, and oh, I mean, it's even right next to this World Scorch, which is pretty sweet. And I kind of feel like in some ways this is a toned down like stamp design and everything. So yeah, they've come a long way with this design. Billy says you want to stack putters, 10 of the exact same. That's ideal. I've built my collection of Wardens. I have over a dozen at the moment that are identical weights and same plastic. Slightly different levels of beaten in, but still useful to have that stack. I'm sure you'll get there, Duja, but yeah, you don't want to do it by spending $18 a piece. You want to. Okay. Looks like that was somewhat temporary for the stream cutting out. I love that. I watched myself on screen and then I disappeared. Sorry about that. I don't know why the stream has been having some issues the past couple of weeks. Kind of annoying. It's okay. Rarity came through, going to streams to remind people that you're loved, kind, smart, you mean the world to someone, love, peace, and happiness. Very friendly. Most people that jump around on streams are not saying things that are kind. Dude says, born in the right age of disc golf. Discs are cool, and getting competitive isn't absurdly hard like other sports. Yeah, it is kind of the perfect moment. And it's been established long enough that you don't have the early difficulty of you're not going to make any money, and it's just this all-in commitment that you're barely going to scrape by on. And it's not developed so much that you have to be, the best 100th of a %, to make an okay living. So it's really kind of this cool spot to be in. Perfect timing. Critty says, love you from Fiji Island. Wow, from Fiji Island. Thanks, that's really cool. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Doc says, Duja Infinite Discs, the base plastic for $9. There you go. Crit says, you must be in Fiji Island. Enjoy your life here. I am not in Fiji Island. I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. So very much inland in the United States. I did live in Florida for a while, pretty close to the coast, a couple hours, but close to the ocean at that point for a few years. But yeah, definitely not in Fiji Island myself. But I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful. I've seen pictures from Fiji, it's beautiful. Dude just says that's more reasonable, might get like 3. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Get them for $9. That's much better. Chris says very, very beautiful places here. Nice place in Fiji Island. Yeah, I'm sure it's lovely. Daniel says, loved the story because that's how you created the channel and you're here with us teaching us. Yeah, it's just a fun, life process that's brought me here. And when I never thought that I was good enough, for instance, to go anywhere soccer. And I did get a college scholarship, but not for the varsity team. It was nice that they had JV scholarships. But it wasn't like full ride. Like it was just, a couple thousand a year, which was great. But for a private university, it wasn't like I was paying for college because of soccer. So I was good, not great at soccer. And I was pretty good compared to most people in ultimate frisbee. But when you get to the level of club teams, everybody's really good. Everybody knows exactly how the frisbee is going to fly. So I never really thought I could go somewhere with these sports. But kind of like what Dude just said, getting into it at the right time. When I started to get decent at disc golf, I kind of realized that yes, the pros are way, way up in talent level, in comparable abilities. But there's this huge space where you have local professional players who are quite good and who make decent money just in competition, let alone if they have some level of sponsorship. And I realized that if I could hit, toward that mark and have a YouTube channel and kind of have that combination, that I could potentially go full time into disc golf and make a living from it. So it's a really kind of exciting realization that was something I would potentially be able to. And here we are, me not yet, funding my entire life from disc golf and YouTube, but beginning to bring in some income from it with my other work that I kind of collaborate together to kind of get by. But it's pretty fun. It's actually kind of working, which is crazy. Chevy says, I have Lunas with flight numbers. And so does that have that fifth number on it? The new disc still have that fifth number? Probably. Dude just says, I feel bad for you, Crit. Fiji doesn't have any courses. No disc golf? Oh, it's not an idyllic paradise if there are no disc golf courses. That's really sad. Doc says, hey Brent, sorry, trying to find Duget a deal. Yeah, good work. How picky are we about stamps? I say for practice putting, you don't even want stamps necessarily. My opinion. Crit says, we're enjoying a small party beside the sea, barbecue chicken, and many more watching you guys. Oh, that's fun. Nice. Fiji Island, welcome my friends. Well, we appreciate you welcoming us, and I could really use a little bit of the beach vibes right now, hanging out in Charlotte, but I can't complain about the weather that we have. But I do miss that tropical paradise. Florida is a few hours away, let alone Fiji. Daniel says, Ed Sheeran laughs that I don't understand the doc's questions. You guys are getting together to make me look like a clown. Not at all. I mostly laugh at Doc, to be honest, because he says such random, unhinged things. But no. Not laughing at you, laughing at the situation. So totally different. You are free and welcome to not know things and ask any questions that you want. I'll only mock mentoring somebody because it's a good hourly rate. Okay, we're just buffering for a little bit, but we're still good. Stream is still rolling. Doc says factory second invaders $6. Wait till Friday and get that free disc. Yeah, 6 is a steal for sure. Usually that's reserved for like a mystery disc, like a $5-6 mystery disc. You have no idea what you're getting. But if you actually know the disc that you're getting, like that's pretty good. That's pretty nice. The Innova factory second. I mean, good work, Doc. All right, I'm gonna catch up on chat and open that disc. I see Dujet asking down there. Let's go. They're great deals. Like I said, Friday. Yeah, there you go. Or next Friday, Black Friday. See if there's good disc deals. Seconds aren't that bad. I don't know why they're that discounted. That's true. They're essentially the exact same thing as the other produced discs. They can't sell retail, but still, yeah. But that's a huge discount. Dude just says, I always show off to my beginner friends that I'm so good I don't need numbers anymore. Flight numbers are important, at least for people who don't have a local shop. Yeah, I mean, but you can still find out what the disc flight numbers are by using the internet. Like you don't have to have them on the disc. So, but yes, they're very helpful. Good guide. Fiji does have at least one course. Okay, that's very important. I do need to know that Fiji has access to at least one disc golf course. Even if it's a 9-hole course, there needs to be baskets to throw discs into. That has to exist. Flight norms are important to be stamped for people who are just being introduced. Otherwise, stamps look so much nicer without. Yeah, I get it on like packs. What am I talking about? Like the Innova. Yeah, beginner packs. Whatever they're. I feel like I'm missing a specific term for them. But yeah, the whatever Shark, Valkyrie, and AVR that you get, or whatever it is that those come with these days. So those are, yeah, some flight numbers on those are good for newer players. But also new players don't understand flight numbers very well. So it's this hard thing because they look to flight numbers, but they think that, oh, it's a faster number, so it goes further for speed or for glide. And then a lack of understanding about stability. So it is kind of funny that, yes, numbers are good and helpful for players who are newer, but they're also the players who don't know how flight numbers work yet. Is kind of a funny balance. Okay. Didn't show on UDisc. Trust me, Daniel, nobody understands Doc's questions. That's exactly right. I don't think Doc understands sometimes. When is the disc opening? 2 minutes or less. Yeah, 7:45. 2 minutes. Disc opening in 2 minutes. Factory second store $6 is common. Wow, that's crazy. Daniel says finally someone understands me. We all understand you. None of us understand Doc. Props to the. You gotta say at the hotel. There's a hotel disc golf course. Interesting. Props to that hotel manager. Yeah, close to Samoa, which has Terry's Island. That's where the disc golf course is on Fiji. There you go. Now you guys know. Fiji disc golf course is close to Samoa, which has Terry's Island. Apparently, at a hotel. Gotta stay at a hotel for that. That's a hotel perk. Like if I ever go to Fiji, I'm going to that hotel because they have the disc golf course. I don't even have to play it, although I will. But I'll be supportive of that. I'll write in my reason for like choosing it, your disc golf course. That's why I'm here. Terry's course on Samoa. Okay. Nice. Good work, Doc. Hey, as much as Doc is a little bit chaotic sometimes, out there doing the good work of finding discounts for Duja and researching if there's a disc golf course on Fiji. So, as much as I'm hesitant to do so, good job, Doc. Proud of you. The beef is in the soup? Yes. Well, yeah, if it's cheeseburger soup, there's plenty of beef in there. Lots of hamburger in the cheeseburger soup. It's very, very important that it has a lot of beef in it. Also, a lot of cheese. That's the cheese and the burger of the soup. Yeah. All right. It is time. Doc is the local Google around here. All right. We've got ourselves. Oh, a little gross stuff in the mail. Got ourselves a disc to open here. So I'm very excited about this. I was hoping that Brendan would swing through the live stream, but hopefully he watches this afterwards. So shout out. Let me actually get. I know I just taunt you guys with it and then I put it away. Let me look up his. Well, no, Instagram is probably the best way to do it. So I will post after I open this disc up and everything. I'll get a picture with it at some point and I'll post and I'll tag him in it or collaborate or whatever. But let me see. Dang it. Okay, so I'll have to find that on Instagram. But he has a Instagram account. So I'll kind of try to shout that out days. But he hopped on the stream at some point and he was like, what discs do you want dyed? And I was like, a Brave. So I'm pretty sure that he dyed a Brave for me and just sent it to me, which is really cool, really awesome. So let me open this if I can. Oh. All right, this will help. Get this open up here. That is much better. Oh yeah, that'll. This guy cares about his packaging. I mean, in my disc giveaway discs, I'm not this careful. Ooh, sounds great. All right, guys, we have for you to see before me a dyed Brave. Oh, that is nice. Oh, that is nice. I like the blue, and I'm not great with color, but it looks like we have some reddish. I don't know if that's maroon or what color that truly is coming through. My lighting is a little bit weird, but I think this is going to look pretty cool while it's spinning through the air. I think it's going to look pretty nice. It feels pretty good. So I think this is going to be thrown in the next couple of days here. I have to take this out of the course, get some throws in with it. And it is the Royal Grand Brave. And I already dropped it once. So I'm going to have to get some throws in. Looks like it got slightly warped in the shipping, just a tiny bit. But I'll take it out of the course and give it some good throws. Very, very excited. Very cool. So shout out Brendan for dyeing this for me and sending it to me. And I will get that disc tagged on a post at some point so you guys can see where I got it from. All right. Doc says why no because of the little dumb dumb comedy show they do on the island. Hate I never made one. What? Okay. Daniel says Doc stresses me out every 5 minutes. Same, same. Because I have to read his comments and I get so confused halfway through. And then I have to have some sort of answer for it. It's crazy. Doc says disc golf is good for stress. That's true. That's true. What if he dyed a dragon to look like a brave? Well, the sticker says brave. So I guess he could have slapped on, that'd be a good troll. Gets a dragon, and then puts a latitude brave sticker on the. I'm like, yeah, this is just a brave. Actually, I think you can see the. Yeah, he wiped the stamp, but you can still catch it, and it is a brave. But maybe Latitude's pulling a prank on me, and they let Innova use their stamp of a brave for a dragon, and it's a huge troll put on by Doc himself. That would be great. Doc says I keep hoping to win a shoe. Yeah, yeah, Doc, you need more shoes, particularly the one that you bought and sent to me. In one of those, you need me to send one of those shoes back. I have to say um, one of my friends has a buddy who's only played, I think, 3 rounds. So of course we took him to Nevin. This is not a joke. He's literally played 2 or 3 rounds in his life. We go to Nevin. I gave him one of the shoes, Doc. So thank you for sending those to me. I was able to give him one of the shoes because I think that it will fly pretty well for him as a kind of flippy mid-range. But yeah, I wanted to shout that out and let you know that I gave that to him because it's really convenient. I was like, oh, what disc do I give a new player? And I was like, oh, I have a stack of shoes over here. So I gave him one. Dude just says, ooh, yeah, I think the Brave does look pretty good. Daniel likes it. Doc likes it. Nice. It's like dark blood purple on stream. Okay. So it kind of comes through with that more purple. From this angle, I can see it more purple. I think up close with the light reflecting makes it kind of hard to see it. But I think I can tell. Yeah, especially from the side, it does look more purple there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think it'll fly nice. Brad probably thinks it's pink. It looks like the log you will lose it under. I mean, it is Charlotte, and there are leaves and logs everywhere. It is interesting in the last like month how much longer it takes to find a disc in the middle of the fairway, just because it's covered up by something. There's at least 2 leaves on top of every single disc. There are no discs that land on top of all of the leaves. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't happen. I think there's enough white to help with this, but yeah, the darker colors probably won't be perfect for the next month with all the leaves on the ground. But coming through that, I'll still throw it and everything. But coming through that, it should be a lot easier to start finding it and other discs again. It's annoying how many pink and orange and brown discs I've looked for in the last 2 weeks. Not normally mine, but sometimes. Yeah, I definitely don't think that it's pink, but it's kind of pink adjacent. Daniel says it's so beautiful. It's pretty nice. Put in some boiling water, then lay a bunch of discs on top of it. Wait, no, he dyed it. Not the water, just the discs. Okay, don't boil it. Don't boil a dyed disc. Okay, it's good to know. Dude just says, have to figure out what soup I want to make for my food class next week. Might have to do a poll for that. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, we should have to do that. When are you making it? Can we do the poll next week or do we need the poll this week? Speaking of the poll, let me check in on our poll. And interesting, we have a tie right now with 23 votes between the Glacier and the Quake. Very interesting. And the Sweep close behind it, and only a few for the Vanguard. I'm curious if the Vanguard is really overstable. I'm wondering if it's just one of those discs that Kyle can throw and Brad can't. Daniel says, this is what I will receive as a gift here at home. Doc says, not a soup guy, sorry, but I hope you get an A. I thought it said yogurt, and I couldn't read for a second. Dude just says, I thought you were the soup guy. Doc is the origin of soup. He is the soup origin himself. I like the Doc says, no, I like the book series about the boy named Soup. Okay. Just depends on what you're going for, Dujit. You can do ramen, not the packaged ramen, but well, I think you use the noodles, but like classic where you're putting like an egg in it and different spices and flavoring. That can be a kind of simple, not necessarily like easy, but kind of more streamlined way to do it. You definitely go about it that way, or you can do a complicated like the cheeseburger soup is more complicated soup method. Chicken noodle soup, kind of that classic. Not my favorite type of soup, but kind of hearty, definitely hearty. Minestrone, is it minestrone or minestrone soup? That's a good one. Cheesy potato soup is a little bit easier, and you get bacon in that. That's a winner. Nobody hates on a cheesy bacon soup. You could do cheesy broccoli, but I don't recommend it because somebody will not like that. Doc says, I told you this shoe is great for noobs, which I feel will be a big part of your fan base. Yeah, there's definitely. It's interesting the range of talented players and new players that are, watching the channel and that I've met. But yeah, I would say that it's a good disc for it. Doc's experiment, do lighter or heavier discs do better in the leaves in respect to losing them? Yeah, that'd be very interesting. I don't even have a theory because I feel like a lighter one, I feel like well, I don't know. I feel like a lighter one gets affected more and can end up in a harder to find spot, but not necessarily more under leaves. I feel like a heavier one maybe has more momentum to slide under leaves. That's my only theory so far, is that a heavier disc probably will do a better job when it lands flat of sliding under leaves than a lighter disc would. That's my only theory. That would be a very interesting experiment. Billy said, played a tournament yesterday, threw straight into a giant leaf pile. Me and my opponent walk up. He immediately starts kicking around leaves, trying to help. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I don't even know what I would say. Yeah. Did you find it in 2 minutes, or is it still 2 minutes? Did you find it in a couple of minutes? What is in my hair? It's food. I don't know what type of food. It looks like a popcorn kernel, but I didn't eat popcorn today. I showered before church this morning. It doesn't make any sense. Oh well. Yeah, that's a tough one. I hope you found it, especially in tournament. You don't want to have to re-tee for a leaf pile. That's a bummer. Making soup this Friday. Okay, so we need to make the poll tonight. Got it. Mr. AB says, is calling it offensive? So not actually, but kind of sort of. A lot of people will say it's just like it's one thing to be like frisbee golf and disc golf are the same thing. Like that's fair enough. That is the origins of disc golf. But a lot of people are very like dismissive and condescending of disc golf. And you'll be like, disc golf is kind of hard, and they're like, oh, you're just throwing a frisbee. And so at that point, when you reduce a disc and its uniqueness and flight path to just a generic frisbee, like that's where the insult comes in. So when you're like, this is a frisbee and this is a frisbee because they're both frisbee discs, fair enough. But if you're like, oh, this, these fly the same, the same thing, this catch disc and this, fairway driver are totally different. They fly completely differently. This is much harder to throw accurately and consistently well. and you're going to get way more distance with it than you will with an ultimate disc. But when somebody tries to, you know, talk about how, useless disc golf is, and comment section and tell me how stupid I am and that it's just throwing a frisbee is the easiest thing in the world. It's like you just don't know. You're totally ignorant that a disc is very different from a frisbee. So in most cases, if you're talking about disc golf and you generally speaking call it a frisbee, it's true. It's the original, and the disc golf disc is a development on the frisbee, a technological advancement. But it's not perfectly accurate. So it can bug some people, but for me, it's when people are acting like they're identical. If you're talking like it's the same category, that's fine, that's true. But if you're talking like a frisbee is a disc and a disc is a frisbee, they fly the same, it's like that's totally wrong. Dude just says no, but it's annoying. Sankey says you need more plates. That is not nearly enough. Yes, I mean, I only have a few hundred disc golf discs. I don't recommend eating off of them, but you can if you absolutely want to. Don't eat anything too hot. It might warp the plastic a little bit. But yes, I do have plenty. I have no idea where I grabbed this one from, but it's probably right there. I should watch. I should like pull it and then like check my my monitoring and see where I got it from, so I can actually put it back. But yeah, if I had a plate collection, I don't know what I would do. I would do with it. I don't get it. I don't get that. Like I have a sort of a video game collection, have a disc golf collection, but I use them. I play video games. I use my discs. So I don't know. Would you take a plate off the shelf and eat off of it? I don't know. Doc says I almost bought Brad some plates that were painted, just so when they called them plates, he could pull one out. It'd be very funny if I had one plate up here and people like are like, "Oh, is that a plate collection?" I'm like, "Yeah, here's one," and I'll actually pull a plate from all of the discs. That'd be very funny. I should prank you guys with that. Mr. AB says, "What's the worst conditions you played in competitively?" Worst competitive conditions, I would say definitely a Florida rainstorm where we had to stop for like a lightning delay. But it just ripped through. And if you've never been, like I've been in rainstorms before. I grew up in Michigan. It rained often. But there's something about a Florida storm where it's, 96 degrees and 6% humidity. And then all of a sudden, it is just absolutely downpouring, massive raindrops. It just rolls across the state. Maybe it's like, a lightning storm, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just rain, but it is an absolute downpour. Like it's hard to draw because it's just pouring rain. It's hard to see. And then, within a few hours, it's gone. But I had to go to Walmart and buy clothing so I could play the second round. And so that was a very, very unfortunate circumstance. And I think I ended up taking second, and I went like 5 over in the last 4 holes. I was under par until the rain happened. Boom. I go 5 over in 4 holes, drop back, and then I have to catch up in the second round. And I ended up still not catching up enough to end up winning. But yeah, that's probably the most brutal conditions for me in competition. I've played some windy rounds, but the worst wind I played in wasn't in a competition. It wasn't in a tournament. It was just at a course called The Range in Michigan, just a wide open course, and it was ripping, like 30-mile-per-hour winds, maybe 40-mile-per-hour gusts, and it was just impossible to play. It was fun, but it was impossible. So I would say that that's my worst competitive conditions. And when it gets all muddy and slippery, that's bad. Although Florida was mostly sand, so that was good. Charlotte gets nasty with the clay when it rains a lot. A lot of the courses you just slip on the clay and it's just terrible. What about you, Mr. AB? What were the worst conditions that you played in? Doc says, Brad, on the leaves, same thoughts that you were having. Oh, boy. Or that I was having, whatever. Daniel says, for me, nothing beats Japanese food. It's my favorite. There's some good Japanese food. I wouldn't say I have a lot, of experience eating Japanese food, a handful of dishes. I like them. I like Chinese food as well. Um, and of course, pad thai, fantastic. So I have a kind of this smattering of Asian food experience that are all mostly pretty good. I'm not like a huge sushi person. It's not gross. It's not great. It's kind of fine, which is good for my wallet. But yeah, there's some great Japanese. A lot of it is pretty healthy. Dude just says worst I played in was 23 inches of snow. Oh, 23 degrees. Sorry. I read too many chats together. 23 degrees and frosty. That is almost identical to the coldest I played in, which was like 26 degrees and windy. Oh, that bitter, bitter wind. I couldn't putt in outside of like 15 feet. My fingers were just frozen. Gross. But that, again, wasn't a tournament. That was just Michigan. 23 inches of snow. Doc says, yeah, that would be brutal. I played in the snow, but it was probably about 3 inches, but melting. So some grass was poking through, in that section, but it was 3 inches of snow over there. Anyway, Daniel says, guys, super random, but I need a series recommendation. Book series, TV series, movie series. What series? Doc says, TV, movie, book, disc, what type of series? Great question, Doc. Daniel says, TV. Dude just says, smiling friends. Depends on what you like. If you like soccer and don't mind watching a little bit of bad soccer, that's um, wow. Of course, it leaves my mind. Uh, why did it just? Why did the name of the show leave my mind? But I can think of like 8 of the actors in it. Um, Ted Lasso. I don't know why that was so hard. And yes, I thought of Ted Bundy before I thought of Ted Lasso. So I highly recommend Ted Lasso if you like soccer, if you just enjoy soccer, and if you've played a little bit on a team at some point. It's a very enjoyable, relatable, kind of touching show. It's very fun, especially the first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons are pretty great. Great little story. So highly recommend Ted Lasso. Very, very good show. Very funny. Um, if you've worked in the American office space at all, I haven't, but I still get it. The Office is a very funny show. Parks and Rec is a very funny show. Let's see, TV series that are really good. I've never been a huge TV nerd, more of a book guy. Leverage, one of my favorite shows. It's definitely a bit lower level of let me put it this way. The production is like a slight step down, but the writing is like a fun step up. The best thing about Leverage is it really satisfies that kind of heist movie feel, but every episode has that, where this group of criminals are trying to do good and are trying to trick or rob or, you know, do some type of job um, uh, on some rich evil person, or whatever. So Leverage, I recommend. A lot of fun and low on the drama, not very like silly drama, but they'll like drop in a little bit here, a little bit there. If you like your action, I recommend Reacher, pretty good. But Alex Cross, very, very much impressed me. I'd never read the books, but I've read some James Patterson, mostly his like Maximum Ride series and a few others. I hope that this is James Patterson. I'm pretty sure it is. But the actor, I'm blanking on names at the moment, but the actor who plays Hardison in Leverage is Alex Cross. And I think he does a great job. I think he's fantastic. So definitely recommend Alex Cross if you like kind of a mystery drama. Um, Two other shows that stood out to me are The Night Agent, which is a like a Secret Service style, um, how do I put it, action suspense show. And I think season 2 came out. So shout out Night Agent. And then The Terminal List, starring Chris Pratt. Way better than I thought. I think well of Chris Pratt, but I didn't think that it was going to be an excellent show. And it is really good. The first two episodes, you don't know what's going on. And it does a very good job of suggesting to you what might be. You don't know for sure. You never know for sure until a few episodes in when you actually have things confirmed. This is actually what is going on. This is not what's happening. This theory. Try not to be spoil stuff because it is a show that you want to go in blind. Like you just want to start watching The Terminal List and let it happen. So very very good. And that is a it's not a war show, but it's a soldier who comes back from an issue with his service. Something goes wrong, and he ends up coming home, and that's where it kind of kicks off. So anyway, there you go. Those are my recommendations of some of the top shows that I've watched in the last 5 years that really stick out to me. Yeah, there you go. Great question. All right, now I'm way behind on chat. I'll slowly catch up over the next half hour. Doc says, dude, my mom used to make stew, and then the next night add stuff to make soup out of the stew. Wish I had time to get you her recipe. Interesting. I should definitely drop some recipes in the... We have a soup Discord channel, right? I think. Dude says, side note, I hate it when people call it frolf. Unironically, genuinely makes me mad. Yeah, hearing frolf just annoys me a little bit. It doesn't make me as mad. I get that. I understand it. It's just this. It really is such a callback to a goofy hippie part of disc golf's history, and I respect that we came from that, but I respect that we're not that anymore. So calling what we have today frolf is kind of like, yeah, yeah. Doc says, did you like Scrubs? I never really watched Scrubs. I saw some, but I never watched it. So I feel like I would like some of the humor, but I mean, to be fair, The Office is this way too, where I like a lot of the humor, but if I watch too many episodes, there's enough objectionable content that I start to kind of feel it a little bit. So I can't really binge watch The Office. And I'm sure Scrubs would be kind of the same way. New Girl kind of the same way. Where if I watch a lot of it, I start to get okay, that's you're really pushing it in a few areas. So many characters are sleeping around with so many characters, and it's just stop. I need to not watch this for a while. Just too much. Mr. AB says, do you throw the disc backhand? I'm 97% backhand. So today I played a wooded course in Charlotte, and I threw one forehand tee shot and 3 forehand upshots, but they were all when I was in a position I didn't want to be in, a spot I didn't want to be in. So, and I would say that's a pretty typical round. So I would say probably I'm 90 to 95% backhand and 5 to 10% forehand, mostly on upshots. But off the tee, it's 99% backhand. I almost never throw a forehand tee shot. Daniel says, who has he been eating popcorn with? So I really don't know how I got food in my hair, and I don't know how to find that out. But I mean, I went disc golfing with a couple friends, so I guess maybe somebody had a snack. I don't remember any popcorn though. Dude just says, especially on TV, Doc, makes me wonder who told them that it's called frolf, unironically. Oh yeah, when it's a sports announcer, when it's ESPN and they're like, disc golf, we have frolf? That's a sport? It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Doc says, Daniel, if you liked Scrubs, then St. Denis Medical is good. I watched the first episode. Wouldn't say I didn't like it, but it didn't pull me into it. But Mr. AB says, is there a standard height for the pole you're trying to get the disc into? Usually. So this is how it works. The basket has standards for how wide it is, roughly where the chains are, the center pole, the band, and the cage itself for catching the disc. there's a little variation, but it's somewhat standardized. You have little ranges that you can have the size, but the height of where the basket is located is not standardized. So I've seen baskets that are in a pit in the ground. I've seen baskets that are elevated. I played one today where I had to, well, my brother was tall enough because he's 6'3", but I have to step up onto some wooden, like vertical wooden logs that are around the pole that are kind of like a staircase to get up to get your disc back because it's like 8.5 feet. The cage is 8.5 feet off the ground. So I'm sure some people with long wingspan can reach that, maybe 7.5 feet. I'm probably exaggerating slightly, but you're getting it over the cage, 7, 8 feet, off the ground, up in the air to make that putt. Range of height that you can have for the pole, but the basket measurements are roughly the same. There's some variation, but not a whole lot. Billy says, I need a new name. Yeah, maybe. Dark Ninja says, what are your thoughts on the ohm? Good question. So my friend Kyle throws the ohm, or has thrown the ohm a lot. He likes it. He says it's a great disc. I haven't thrown it. I just haven't thrown it. I know it's a surprise with all the discs behind me that I don't have an ohm. Haven't thrown one. But I haven't. So with my knowledge, I would say seems like a good disc. Seems like a good flyer, and it seems great. But I just don't have any personal experience with it. What are your thoughts on the ohm? Dude says, still surprised by the holy shot wasn't even first on SportsCenter top 10 for the day, unless I misremembered. Yeah, I think that really falls under the lack of, particularly at the time, but the lack of popularity that disc golf has is that they didn't understand the stakes of that holy shot going, that it was the last thing that happened at Worlds other than the playoff. But it was the moment of the tournament, of Worlds, of the season where that happened. And I feel like people kind of think, that happens every once in a while. Someone just throws in and wins a tournament. That never happens, let alone at Worlds. Does somebody throw in from 250 to tie and then end up winning a tournament in a playoff? Like, that doesn't happen. That's just something that doesn't happen. So, as much as Paul Macbeth has brought some crazy finishes and some crazy Worlds wins, I don't know that he ever had a a throw in on the last hole to tie or win. I'm sure he's made big putts, maybe technically a throw in from outside of 66 feet, but I think they kind of have a sense that that happens every once in a while, and yet all the disc golfers are like, this has just never happened before. It's never going to happen again. It was the thing, like the holy shot. So it is kind of disappointing that the context wasn't understood, which is just a bummer. But yeah. Doc says there's guidelines, but we're having hanging baskets and high baskets, so no. Yes. Uh, Billy says his username's free month trial has run out. He will return as his final form. Looking forward to that. Doc says, Daniel, what type of shows do you like? I should have asked that before I gave 15 answers. I'm way back on the chat. Good night. Goodness. I need to catch up. Okay. Dude just says, I would have thought Anthony Morello would. I thought that too. I love the AB. Mr. AB. That's great. Billy says, farewell, fellow disc golf fellows. Candlelight Waves, thanks for hopping on and joining. Candlelight has some really cool like speed paint coloring. Sorry, coloring is such a horrible way of describing it. Like drawing and coloration of depth that I can't bring out of myself, particularly with my partial color blindness. But some really cool drawings on the channel. Dude just says, this is why you live in the Midwest, true neutral when it comes to weather. Yeah. Doc says, oh, Brad, that's an idea. Does the Disc Golf Pro store have those giant umbrellas? That would be good. So the only thing I want an umbrella is one that easily apart and provides protection from the rain at the same time. If I have that, my life is complete. I'll be able to play in the rain better. Candlelight says Chinese food is the peak of culinary culture. I love a good, you know, call me, this may maybe my most risky, dangerous choice of life. I like a good Chinese buffet. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Crab rangoon. Doc says on the soccer note, the Ryan Reynolds show might be fun. Yeah, was that West Ham or something? I'm slandering some soccer team. I don't know. Daniel says love The Office. There you go. Oh, new show on YouTube called, I love the show so far. It's called The Promised Land, and it's basically The Office with Moses, Aaron, Miriam, and the people of Israel in the kind of desert, as Israel has been taken out of Egypt and delivered from slavery and headed to the Promised Land. There's this intermediary time um, where obviously the show's going to take a ton of liberties, but it really has an office style tone to it, where you see people, do the talking heads to the camera, and then you see the scenes being lived out in the supposed Israel experience. So far, very funny. You don't have to be like me, a Bible nerd, or have a degree or be a youth pastor or anything like that. But so far, quite funny. Definitely made me laugh a few times. So shout out to The Promised Land. Pretty funny so far. Uh, Statimus, what's green and has wheels? Grass, lie about the wheels. Yep. Classic anti joke. Dude says, did like the American version, didn't know there was an Aussie version of The Office. Goodness. I did try the British version, didn't like it, but I don't say that it's bad. I didn't actually watch it all, so I just didn't like it. Home Improvement is a great classic American sitcom. There you go. Jonathan says, "Will you be my friend? Yes or no?" I tend to be a friend to people until it's a bad idea to continue being their friend. So yes, until you give me a reason to say no. Okay, okay, okay. Show us a cat. I have no cats. My apologies. Had a cat. I had two cats, Gandalf and Gladriel. They were very, very sweet cats. Okay. Luxury says, any goals for the off season? Great question. And dude just says there is no off season. The 20-degree afternoons will prove me otherwise. For me, there's essentially no off season. I'll definitely be competing almost as much as I did during the season. But there'll be definitely some chunks of several week chunks where I'm not in a tournament and I'm not getting out as much. But I would say goal for the off season is, I would say, learn Charlotte courses better. I really feel I have just a couple of Charlotte courses figured out where I know what I'm throwing up of every tee. I know where I'm aiming. I know how I want my disc to fly, and I know what the green looks like. I would say there's just the majority of Charlotte courses. There's so many that I've only played them a handful of times, and I just don't quite have it figured out with my bag yet. So I would say continuing to learn Charlotte courses is a big goal so that coming into next year, I'm in a better position to compete well and throw shots that I know I can trust. Um, Also, it's kind of a weird time to call it off season for me because I just accepted cash and MPO like 3 weeks ago. And so I'm not going to stop compete. Like I'm stepping into finally being able to compete for money. So I'm kind of looking to these off-season quote unquote tournaments to be like, okay, I'm playing at this tournament. I want to see if I can cash. I'm playing there. I want to see if I can cash. So I have the Chainock Open in Florida coming up first week of December, and I'll be playing that, trying to take some cash. I'll be trying to compete against the likes of Garrett Gurthey and some other top tier pros there. I won MA1 last year, so it's going to be a fun the MPO field uh, and see how I can compare with people who are clearly better than me, but a lot of people who are probably also kind of like me, good MA1 players who have jumped into MPO and are trying to compete for some cash. And I want to see if I can hang and I can take some money home. Charlotte Roar Open, which I think is the first week of January. There's a big disc golf conference that I'm going to in January, middle, end of January. We'll be able to see some pros. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of rambling, but I'm kind of cherry picking big tournaments, medium to big B tier, A tier tournaments to try to compete for cash in those. But I'll still be doing all the chain reactions tournaments that I can, and putting and working on stuff. So yeah, I definitely am in a mode where I'm like, keep doing what I'm doing, keep getting familiar with Charlotte courses, keep competing, and kind of see where I'm tracking with caching and MPO and how that's going. So I don't know if that's a good answer to your question, but it's a good question. Okay, okay. Uh, Maribel is here. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Appreciate you swinging by. Daniel says, I'll be right back. Okay. He's probably back by now. I don't know. Dude says, it's about disc golf. That's all you need to know. Maribel, yes. It's a disc golf channel. These are discs, not plates. And and occasionally Taco Bell Candlelight says, that's so true. So yeah, these are disc golf discs, as opposed to like an ultimate frisbee, which they definitely fly differently. This is not for catching. This will hurt, unlike a frisbee. But yeah, disc golf definitely a fun sport. You can play by yourself. You can play. I know that's where that one is. On a team or just with a group of friends. Most people play with a group of 3 to 6. Like they'll go out with a bunch of buddies and play together. Although I heard a few of my friends apparently got together in a group of like 15 and played triples. And I guess that took like 3.5 hours. I did not go to that. I was not part of that. I would have played if it was that I would have been there, but that needs to be split into 3 cards, in my opinion. Dude says a local private course is a basket or two in the branches trunk of a tree. I've seen that a couple times. Doc says don't get him started on Taco Bell. I haven't had Taco Bell in a long time. It's been weeks. Exciting news: a new Taco Bell is being built in Dugit's town. Dude, that's a big pull. I might come visit. That's funny. That's great. Vinny, oh, this is hilarious. Vinny says you must like frisbees. Yes, love disc golf, and it's hilarious because one of my favorite disc golfers, Calvin Heimberg, goes by the nickname Vinny. I have a Calvin Heimberg Destroyer right here. But yes, I'm a big disc golf fan and competitor. I play in tournaments, and in the last month became classified as a professional disc golfer, and I'm now competing for cash when I can. But yeah, I do. I'd have an actual frisbee, but these disc golf discs are definitely a bit different. Jason says handsome dude. There you go, Doc. Another compliment for you. Scab says you should honestly never change whatever mids you throw. Sweep is a solid choice. I will say I do love range selection right now, which makes it hard to try to shift a glacier in there. I do. The Soul is great. The M2 is great. The Taco is great. The Echoes are great. Luxury says my local Taco Bell still has the $1 bean and rice burritos. Got to put respect on that. Heck yeah. Doc says Vinny, you are not the guy who sings on YouTube, are you? I don't know. Says you throw an Echo, right? Yes. I have 2 Echoes in the bag right now. I lost my best one, long-lasting white Echo. Very sad that I lost that, because I didn't even lose it. I left it, and on the in circle 2, and went back within 10 minutes and it was gone. And no disc golfer took that. Somebody wandered through the fairway, picked it up, and left with it. Sad. Nicole says you look like Felix from Stray Kids. All right, I have to find out if that's good or not. Oh gosh, that is hilarious. Is this a K-pop band? I'm not sure if this is a band or not, but Australian rapper and singer based in South Korea. Okay, that is so funny. I see it in the hair just a tiny bit, but I don't think so. I don't think I have any real resemblance. Doc says, Brad, maybe now you have enough fans, you should only read comments to start with Brad if you see new people asking something. Yeah, maybe I'm falling behind on chat a little bit. It is a good idea. I will start ignore like I started skipping stuff where Doc and Dujit you were talking to each other. I when I have so many comments stacked up, I will start skipping stuff like that. So I will do that a little bit, a little bit. Doc says he gets so far behind I had to do a long comment. That's good. I like that. Okay, okay. Dude just says in the line of shows, Foundation's Imposter series is a really good reality type show with disc golf. There you go. That's fun. No spoilers. Oh, I did watch the Spicy Wings putting, and I did enjoy it. It was quite good. But I will say my favorite was Own. Own was so funny. She was hilarious. Just everything Own says is funny to me. I love her attitude. It's so great. Hey, Kevin Galloway says, hey, I won my match today. Just got home. Match point on my channel. Ooh, already dropped it on the channel. Kevin has a mishmash of disc golf, tennis, pickleball, and running, all kind of, and just some random stuff thrown together on the channel. So that's really cool. And it is tennis, right? Dude just says, which sport? I'm too lazy to look on people's channels. Doc says, is there a sport besides disc golf? No. Off season is prime time to figure out next season goals. That's true. It's really weird if you watch my good whatever it was 2024 is over on a 2025 video. I said random, not random, but my goals for the year were things that I really didn't do. And then the things I did were like not better than my goals, but like making lead card at Am Worlds was not on my radar at all. Um, but I didn't reach 980 rated. So it's like I didn't have a well, it's not over yet, but I don't think I'm gonna make 10,000 rated rounds this year. So I had some goals that weren't aligned with how I actually played through the year. But then I did other things, getting filmed the Disc Golf Pro Tour commercial. Never would have thought that was, a goal for the year, but like I would probably pick that over, my 10,000 rated rounds. So it's really kind of cool what actually happened for me this year. I'll have a fun video probably at the end of the year where I talk about what I expected the year to look like and what actually happened and how it turned out kind of great. And I really enjoyed it. Kevin says, no one can beat you at scrap. I'm playing so bad at scrapyard. Brent could. I'm sure Brent could, but I think I tend to play scrapyard a little better than Brent on average. I mean, it's my home course. He's good. He's great. Nothing against Brent. But I did beat him in the Point Series Championship and win $350 in his face by hitting a circle two putt to beat him by one. But yeah, Brent is good for sure. Brent is a stud. He's becoming some OG knowledge on the streams. Brent, you looking at tournaments trying to find ones that Yuli's at? Yuli will probably play the Charlotte Roar Open, so that's a Yuli tournament that I'm planning to play in, or a tournament he's probably going to be in. Dude just says the Gyropalooza event on Jay Millie's video looks sick. Definitely a bucket list experience. Ooh, okay, I'm almost caught up. Jay Millie is concrete #1 channel production entertainment wise. Foundation is #1 overall. Danza close third. There you go. Danza is fun. Jonathan, I think Jonathan is, how do I put it? I think Jonathan's the best YouTube channel. Like I feel like he gets YouTube the best. He actually something directly for a person to enjoy and has a great sense of humor, does an excellent job. I really feel like he does the best as a YouTube channel production. I would say he's my pick. Yeah, I caught up. I'm doing great. Dude just says, man, we got AB and Calvin in the stream. Yeah. Connor says, is disc golf harder to control? If you're talking about versus a frisbee, yes. So frisbee is very forgiving. You're just kind of throwing it to your friend playing catch, and it's just this massive thing where it's going to glide through the air pretty well. But a disc golf disc requires a lot more touch and form to throw well. And usually, if you're a new player, every time you throw it, it's going to just go left and go like 60 feet. But professional Calvin and AB, they're throwing 600-foot or further shots, not necessarily in tournaments, but they get one of these things going so fast with smooth angle, spin rate, speed, distance. It's crazy. And I mean, AB is known for getting eagles on like par fives and par fours on holes that even the majority of the pro tour is, a birdie or a par on, and giving himself eagle opportunities because he throws so. But anyways, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, a disc golf disc is much harder to be accurate with, but it also can go way further than a frisbee. You just can't get a frisbee going like 600 feet. Like that's just not about to happen. It's not happening. So yeah, disc golf discs harder to be good at than a frisbee by a lot, but also more potential. Definitely more potential. Doc says spicy wings was sick. Owen's always a blast. Yeah, Owen's so funny. She's always so happy too. I like her attitude, and of course she backs it up with talent. So it's like this entertaining person who's you just feel. I've met her not in a in line to get a signature. So met her. She's so friendly. She's so nice. She asked if I was coming to any more tournaments in the year, and I was like, yeah, probably like Pro Tour Championship or whatever, probably Charlotte. And I end up seeing her in Charlotte, and like she's just so nice, and yeah, I just need to have her sign. Oh, it's in my car. I have a own destroyer that I need her to sign. Kevin says, "Who is Brent in the chat?" Brent is not talking, probably playing video games with his friends, uh, and ignoring the stream. He's probably got me way off in the corner of his eye. If he looks far to the right, barely like, able to see with the edge of his vision, muted so that he doesn't hear me, and then every once in a while just trying to glance over and see if Doc gave him a compliment. And that's how Brent watches my stream. He likes me way off to the side, and he hasn't said something since he said, "Hey, I'm here." So maybe he said one thing, but yeah, Brent hasn't been involved this week in the chat. I guarantee you that he's playing a video game with his friends right now. 100% guarantee it. Not that he games all the time, but I think a Sunday night at 8:30, I think that's what he's doing. I'm calling it. Compared to Brent, he works all the time, so he deserves a break. But just saying, he's not watching my stream. Doc says off-season goal: find more unusual discs. Interesting. And work with our and Canada's governments and get rid of tariffs on disc golf. Thank you. I like that. It's a good goal. Doc says Brent is our evil. I almost misread it. Sorry, Doc. Don't mean to. Brent is our hero who battles the evil Brad to save our disc golf love. That's the most random nonsense I've ever read in my life. That's so ridiculous. Kevin says Doc and Brent, Brad and me. Kevin will win. Will win. Doc will mentally fall. Doc and Brent will mentally just collapse into incoherent rambling and chaos, mental insanity, and you and I will play well. Doc says, I think Brent could play good enough to make my terrible playing neutralized. Brad almost misread. Yeah, I misread some things occasionally. I'm imperfect. Surprise, surprise. We had a jump, and now we're at 40 votes. Isaac Robinson's sweep has taken the top of the voting of the poll. Gannonburg Glacier with 38%, Gannonburg Glacier at 28%, and Sullivan Tipton Quake at 25%. So actually, this is tight enough to where I might actually consider, because I have a Glacier, getting a sweep and a Quake. It looks like nobody cares about the Vanguard, so I guess fair enough. Soup poll for Dujet? Yeah. Good, good. Let me end that. Here are the poll results. So everybody put down what you think Dujet should make, what soup Dujet should make, and then I'll make a poll out of it. Dujet, throw a can of soup in a pot, put it on warm, and take your teacher out for a round of disc golf. Nice. Take the whole class. Disc Golf 394 says hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining. Doc's for soup. Doc says a classic vegetable beef. I assume that's supposed to say vegetable. That's it. It says vegetable, but I assume that's supposed to be vegetable. So vegetable beef. That sounds like a soup I would. That's a vegetarian soup I would like. Vegetable beef. I think that's about right. There's like a beef and barley soup is pretty solid. Doc says old and sleepy. Doc, I can't read your comments. I don't understand. Let's see. We'll create a poll. We'll do. Nope, that's not typing. What soup should Dujet make for class? Cream and mushroom soup does not count. It comes in a can. There's minestrone. Doc says, Dujet, how are your cooking skills? Going for like a fusion or just classic recipes? Oh, my poll is covering up the lowest comments. Let's see if this kicks my poll out. Oh no, never mind. It pushes the comments up. Never mind, we're good. Now I have to retype. Classic tomato soup with milk and cheese. You're saying tomato soup that's made with milk, tomato soup, milk, and grilled cheese, right? Because milk is like the weirdest thing to drink in that combination, I think. But yeah, if you're talking the tomato soup is made with milk, I mean, that's a fair way to make it. Creamy tomato soup, yeah. I'm trying to remember my favorite Olive Garden soup and my favorite Panera soup. Because I usually just get the triple mac and cheese and call it a meal. But I feel like the cheesy broccoli is solid, fine. Panera, go chili. All right, we need one more soup. We need an actual soup option. Bread bowl, yes. Bread bowl is a yes. Although I I like to eat it last. Like I don't like eating pieces of the bread bowl as I go very much. I like to eat it all at once at the end, so it's kind of weird. But triple mac and cheese in a bread bowl. That's living the life, living life well, right there. Mac and cheese in a bread bowl. That's a good way to go about it. I'll chop up my lid, but yeah, save most of it for last. What? Whatever. Kevin says triple mac and cheese. Yeah, triple mac and cheese is so good. It's so good. I almost can't believe that they're not physically making it from scratch in the back. Like it makes me want to buy those like whatever, they're buy wholesale their mac and cheese and just keep it. Sausage and potato. You chop up your lid the top that comes off, you chop up. I don't even know what that means. You chop up your lid of the bowl. Oh, the bread bowl. Gotcha. Oh my gosh, that was so confusing. You have your soup with a little bit of the bread, but not a lot of it. That's what you're saying. Weird way to say it. I like that. Sausage and potato soup. Submitted by Rackle Owens. Make sure you vote in the poll. We need to help Dugit with his school project. So please give him good advice. We got cheeseburger soup. Oh, cheeseburgers is taking over. Early votes out of 3 have cheeseburger soup in the lead. I will warn you, Dugit, it's going to take you a long time to make that soup, but it's going to be worth it, and you will be addicted, and you will want more for the rest of your life. It's going to be great. I actually was thinking of making it last week. I was thinking of making it for the weekend. I actually ended up not going with my dinner plans because I got some pizza. Shout out to Kevin, post disc golf Empire Pizza. Really good pizza. And I'm not a big like pineapple on pizza guy, but the Maui pizza impressed me. I think that came with bacon and ham on it. It's actually pretty good. Surprised, shockingly good. So that was a good pizza experience. I will go Empire Pizza. But I was gonna make cheeseburger soup, so that's probably gonna be my. I'll either make it like tomorrow or I'll make it like Saturday. I haven't decided. I don't know if it's gonna be this week's meal or next, like rolling into next week's meal. But yeah, cheeseburger soup is coming soon. John Kelly says thoughts on the new Q Line DD3. I have not seen the Q Line DD3. Oh, that looks cool. Oh, I have seen this because I was just looking at the Disc Golf Pro Tour website and their Tour Series discs. I like a DD3. I don't know if I like the Q Line or not. Is the Q Line a new plastic? Is that? All right, we're doing research. This is proper investigative work. $30 disc. I mean, light blue, you can't go wrong with that. That would fit nicely in the bag. 12.5-1.3. Okay, so it's a destroyer. Celebrating Gannon's Worlds win. Nice. Okay, it is. This is what I was curious about. If they're not copying of, but kind of the gyro technology of MVP, getting the weight distributed more toward the outside, to the rim of the disc. And it does seem like that's happening. 10% of the disc's total mass distributed toward the rim. Only 10%. It's got to be like an additional 10%. Because only 10%, like there's definitely more than 10% of the disc in the rim. More glide and distance. Okay. Yes, that was my question. If it was, oh, there's 3 reviews. There's only reviews, and one of them is a 2-star and one of them is a 4-star. The 4-star says the not what I expected. Two-star says questioning things. Disc is disappointing to see that they are selling this today and still have not fulfilled the Nicholas disc orders at all that use the same plastic. So the review is not of the disc. It's that they haven't received a different disc. So the reviews tell us absolutely nothing. So good. I guess that's helpful to know. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I would say if there were a destroyer in a premium plastic that I could throw well, it would be a disc where the weight is distributed toward the rim more, um, because those tend to be slightly more understable. So that might be a one, but I'm not sure. It seems cool though. I love that other companies are working to put kind of weight toward the rim of the disc. That's nice to see. Doc says, put Soup the Book by Robert Peck on a plate and give it to your teacher. Cook that one up just for you. Doc says, though to be fair, I did bad in school. Leah says, thanks for the invite to Empire. I was under the impression that you weren't available to join. So that's not my fault. Jonathan says, will you be my best friend? And best friend is a tough category for me because I have two buddies, one of whom is my lifelong best friend, and one of whom is my best buddy right now. And it's hard to beat. Gosh, what? Sam and I have known each other for 25 years, and I'm only 30. And Adam and I have known each other for 29 years. So it's kind of hard to beat that. So you want best friend status? Good luck. I look forward to seeing what you've got. Doc says, don't like that they're trying to use a draft stamp. Discmania of a dragon. That's silly. Dude just says, one last peep. Q line is supposed to be to achieve higher max weights and set. Sorry. Now I'm just reading poorly. Supposed to achieve higher max weights and a different distribution of it. Yeah. Yeah, the Q line, although they are technically higher max weight period for discs because there are still limits on that, but I'm sure that they're able to higher. I keep finding like maybe these are bits of leaves or something. I don't think that there's that much food in my hair. That makes sense. But yes, that I don't think they can exceed maximum PDJ legal weight for the size of the disc, but I know that they can hit the max weights with the weight distribution being toward the outside and achieve further flight because of that. Doc says, Dujit, we did a soup poll for you. Yes. And right now, 10 votes. We have cheeseburger soup at 70%, vegetable at 20, and sausage and potato at 10%. I have to say, as much as I love me a cheeseburger, wow, I'm getting hungry now. This is not good. As much as I love a cheeseburger soup, I want to try a sausage and potato soup. I want to give that a shot. I don't want a vegetable soup. I'm not looking for a vegetable soup in my life right now. But sausage and potato sounds pretty good. But yeah, I wish I had cheeseburger soup waiting for me post stream. Tragic. I was gonna go pick up some groceries so that I could make dinner this afternoon, and then I ended up playing a round of disc golf. Surprise. And then I ended up taking a nap, which was a surprise to me. But I fell asleep for a while. It was great. I'm glad that I took a nice little nap. But then I did not have time to go to the store and cook dinner and have the stream ready at 7. So I ate oatmeal, but I haven't had actual dinner, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it. Those Frosted Flakes are calling my name over there. I don't want to do ramen. I feel like I always regret ramen. It just hurts me. I don't know if it is just the quality of the 10-cent noodles or what it is, but it just rips out my insides and it's just terrible for me. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll eat a potato or something. Panera delivers. I have to say, one thing about me when it comes to food, I don't order delivery. Ever. I think I've ordered delivery in my life. I can think of one time, and it was not my idea. Ordered delivery. My friends have ordered. I've gotten delivery in a group setting, but yeah, I've ordered delivery once, and it was not my idea. It was not my plan. And even takeout is not my plan. I like to, enjoy eating out every once in a while. Get some Taco Bell here and there on trips, but I don't just go for like a Sunday night. I don't go. I'm gonna go get some Panera. No, I've got my meals that I've already made, or I make food for myself. Uh, way less expensive than eating out. I just can't eat out multiple times a week. It's so much money. It's so much money. And yes, Panera is very good, but I would eat Panera all the time uh, if I was willing to spend the money. Not willing to spend the money. I do when I get the 30% off coupons. 30% off is pretty nice. Old man naps are the best. Oh gosh. Yeah, I guess that's what I experienced. Just an old man nap. Well, it looks like the stream is pretty well wrapping up, so I'll go for a couple more minutes, get in any last questions or comments that you have, but we'll be wrapping the stream up pretty soon here. But I appreciate hanging out with all of you guys. It was a lot of fun, as always. Doc says, remember, I work till 7 a lot of nights. Hard to come home and have time to cook or even reheat. Well, that's the beauty of soup, like cheeseburger soup. You scoop it into a bowl, and it's in the microwave for a minute and a half, and you're eating. Like, it is a 2-minute prep. You're waiting, even delivery, you're talking to the guy and paying for 2 minutes. So, truly, I mean this without any at all. If, as a society, like, we wanted to eat, food that we made instead of just takeout, we could do it. We can find foods that reheat easily and quickly if we wanted to. It's very not easy to do it, but we can set ourselves up for success. But as a country, we don't do that. We get DoorDash, we eat takeout constantly, and I'm not dogging on anybody who does that. I'm just saying, as much as it's convenient and it's nice, we don't have to do that. We can prep ourselves for success and make meals that reheat quickly. And yes, cheeseburger soup microwaves really surprisingly well. So shout out to cheeseburger soup for solving like all of my life's problems, 100%. But yeah, I get it. Working late makes it hard if you don't have a meal plan already, and it's not like you could fix it for tomorrow. But if for next week and forever after that you wanted to have food ready to be made quickly at home, that could be done. Doc says, can't do the same meals every day. Not saying it's bad, not something I like to do. I have met people who say that they can't eat the same meal, and I get it for certain things. Like I made a chicken meal, chicken ranch chicken, whatever, baked meal. And yeah, after 6 days, I was like, okay, this has been great, but another chicken and ranch day. Like that's a lot. So I get that, but you can make enough for 3 days and eat it every other day. You can have something 2 days in a row and then switch to something else. So it can be done. It can be done. Usually do snacks for breakfast and then a can of something for lunch. For supper, I want something special most of the time. Oof. Yeah, I feel like that's a rhythm that's hard to break because yeah, it definitely seems like you're setting yourself up to be in a spot where you really need like a takeout food, or delivery food by the end of the day because you haven't eaten enough, and so you're going to be tired and hungry. Not saying you, but like you get hangry, you get cranky. Not the time to be like, what am I gonna do for dinner? Like, I think I might go to the store and buy. Like, it's not happening. Like, you need something now. Like, you need dinner. You need food. So I get it. I get the pattern of that. And if you have the finances to do it, I'm not insulting it. I don't have the finances to do that, so that's definitely not happening. And I'm very aware of the cost difference between making a meal for 4 to 7 days and eating that meal throughout the week versus eating out 5 days a week. Night and day. Night and day. So if you are struggling with a budget, I'm not talking to everybody. If you're struggling with your paycheck, making it, I highly encourage you to prep your food at home on the weekends, even if you make 2 meals, 3 meals that are all 2 servings, 2 different meals, and then you have one day, that you get takeout instead of 3, 4, 5, whatever it tends to normally be. Like the difference that makes in the budget is extreme. It is crazy. Somewhere like Aldi or Lidl, where you have reasonable prices for things and can get cheap vegetables and eating some things off brand. Yes, it can be done. Um, Highly recommend doing that. Hey, Steven's here. Shout out, Steven. I mentioned it earlier again, the FD1 that you gave me, threw it today on a couple of holes, and it's been a great disc in the bag. It's been a huge help. The extra stability balances my kind of straight flying gray FD1. Perfect combo. Doc says 3/4 day off. I'm usually cooking. That's good. That's good. Doc says, yeah, I tighten other finances so I can have my supper. That's something nice. Helps me get through the day. Not tomorrow will be nachos with rice I stole from Hamburger Helper. That's really great. I love that. I love awesome. All right. Sad to wrap things up as soon as Steven gets here, but it is about to be 9 o'clock and I could go for a little bit, but it seems like the stream is kind of wrapped up nicely for us in the chat. So I'll be ending things. If you have a last second comment or question, throw it in the chat real quick and I'll get to it before I sign off, but you've got about 1 minute to get that typed out. Doc says, ever do the Spanish rice in a bag, throw in some cheese and salsa? I have done something similar to Spanish rice, but yeah, that's a pretty solid way of doing things. Doc says, oh, well, good night. Have a great night, Brad. Thank you. And you as well. Enjoy your nachos with stolen rice. I have no idea. I have rice, but I'm a bad rice maker. I had to throw away a pan that I burned rice to the bottom of it so badly. So now I just have like a rice cooker thing that just cooks rice and pops up when it's done. It's nice. But now I don't anymore. So I don't know. Anyway, I have something. I'll make something. I'll survive. I'll live. Time for bed. 4:45 a.m. comes early. Yeah, too early. Well, Doc, have a good day at work. Thanks for out today. Microwave my rice. I'm lazy. Especially, I don't microwave it to cook it from just raw rice, but reheating rice can work in the microwave, despite what they tell you. It works great. Steven says, glad you like it. Sorry I missed the chat. No problem. Also, yes, opened up the disc that Brendan sent me. So this Brave was custom dyed by Brendan, so shout out. Wish that he had been able to stop by in the chat today, but I will email him and thank him, and then I'll make an Instagram post at some point. Got a new FD1 in the Discmania mystery box. That's great. That's awesome. Maybe it'll be a little more flippy. All right. I'm headed out, guys. Thanks for joining. Doojit cheeseburger soup won the poll, so enjoy making that. I'll put my recipe in there. I think I already did actually. I think I put cheeseburger soup recipe in the chat in the soup Discord channel. 58% with 12 votes. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you next week.